Hey, so welcome to another Forensic Happy Hour. We got Ronen. Ronen is here to talk. I just talk about some stuff, maybe COVID stuff, some forensic stuff, or how he's now a pilot. So, excellent. I appreciate you guys hanging out. So enjoy.
First thing I would do, I want to say thank you and cheers.
Thank you.
Very
and
good.
Cheers.
Very good.
And
So
my beer order.
Yeah, beer. Okay, so I guess we're gonna. So what are you drinking in the happy hour today?
It looks like a beer, but it's not. It's a drink that I really like. It's called tequila. And, and it's a bottle that I really like. I don't know if you can tell. I just ran out of the second bottle.
Fantastic.
We got backup.
And backup, yes. Always have to have that. Yeah, that's the backup. I love it. Yeah, so just sticking with beer and all that great stuff. But so I appreciate it. So obviously, Ronen, I've known you for a while, but what I would like you to do, just give a background. And I'm talking 10, 15 years, just at your life story. I'm sure a lot of people know you, but just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm new. I don't know too many people. I don't know if anyone knows me, but I can go back. How far do you want me to go back?
Hey, it's up to you, not your childhood. So we can talk about here. Let me structure this. Let me structure a little bit better. So tell me, since it's a forensic type of thing, tell me, when did you start kind of doing the forensic stuff, and what was it?
Oh, that's very good questions. You can hear my accent is not from New York. I started in New York, but obviously now I'm in Seattle, so you know where my accent is. I moved from Israel in 2003, so landed in New York. Took a few years to get my degrees in electrical engineering, and 2010 was the year when I joined Celebrite, where they had two businesses dealing with mobile devices. One was the retail, and the other side was the forensic. I think I kind of shifted more towards the forensic where we're at now. So to your question, I think around 2010, being very technical in that industry is where I...
So if you take with the electrical engineering that's obviously very technical, way above kind of my my type of work. So think of it, I guess, how can you take the background that you have in it and into your current job or into any other work that you've done?
So the idea of being involved in that industry, I feel like a lot of it is about education. Being in that industry, digging into things. I used to work for some corporates dealing with mobile devices, designing things, working on finding solutions. So digging into the electronics, the bits and bytes, I felt very comfortable coming into that industry and hopefully learning and also contributing some of my knowledge. I feel like it's very connected to where I came from.
Yeah, agreed. And so from obviously we come from on a technical side of it. Have you seen, since you've been in it for quite some time, have you seen how to say the evolution of, say, the examiners or the people that are utilizing tools or the digital forensic guys from just the standard guys that in the patrol car or a criminal investigation guys who just want pictures, stuff like that, to more advanced type of looking at the hex, diving in. Have you seen that move during your time?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people, and I know yourself, coming from law enforcement, which is where most of that forensic is focusing, because that's where most of these issues are funneling into, although we have a lot of people in the private industry doing the same, which is great. What I found is that it's really hard to find the engineers that are actually sitting in the patrol and trying to do mobile forensics or computer forensics. So I don't think there is one person that can understand the entire business, the entire workflow. Just because of the nature, I was not law enforcement. I try to volunteer when I can. Most of the law enforcement are not engineers or electrical engineers, so I feel like it's not a disconnect, but we try to work together to try to complete the picture. So I do see quite a few people that are actually putting more effort than the average users, which is great. I know many people that are writing code, doing their research, taking things apart, digging into the electronics, which is great. People that are trying to find issues, try to find where things are being hidden, try to solve the problems that we all try to face.
So speaking of problems, obviously, we've been kind of cooped up for a while, right? So there's, I guess what I always say, pluses and minuses to everything, right? There's always a silver lining to something. But so let's first talk about the problem, and it's not necessarily us, but how about those people that are out there that are doing digital forensics in any type? I mean, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? And what are some solutions that you might or some ideas that you might give to them that will help them in in dealing with the forensic side of it?
Very good question. Sounds like it's important to you, but I'll try to answer.
Hey, I ask the questions, man. I just ask the questions and I drink the beer.
So I don't know if you can see in the far corner there, I only have few badges that I tend to go to conferences. I need to count how many I have, but I do see a lot of people, and I do see a lot of trends in the industry, and I meet with a lot of people and a lot of vendors, and I might steal some information from others. Like I know Kim Thompson was in your show, and I did happen to see the video. I know he's a great person contributing in the industry like many others. He keeps, or others too. I don't want to just focus on very specific people, but try to keep our brains or engaged and try to keep learning, which is something that we must do. Just because I know he was talking JTAG and ISP and things that are kind of fading, and we're only talking about a few years ago. So dealing with...
my question, rather is those people that are, say, are forensic examiners, right? Say that those people at a police department or, those on the corporate side of it. I mean, there's challenges, right? Because of the situation, everything's slowly opening up, but the situation is still there. So I guess what do you think is a positive? I like to be positive. So what's a positive that has come out of people who have been in isolation that obviously have to still do work? Either crime or internal that stuff still occurs. So I mean, give me something about that.
Few positive things. Well, I know my friend, very good friend, Heather Mahalik. She's hosting 3 times a week with some colleagues a show on a Zoom as Life Has No Control, I'll delete. It is a great show because she's hosting people not necessarily from the company, but from anywhere who would like to share knowledge and information. And every other day, like 3 times a week, there are people sharing their finding or how to do things and basically teaching others. So specifically talking about the situation now where people are more at home or isolated and only connected to that screen, seeing these videos live, being able to ask questions and sharing knowledge. For me, doing some webinars, being engaged more on the video, I do have to, at least the top part, to look better, so I'm trying. I'm not going to stand.
So that brings up a great point, right? So, obviously the training side of it, the education side of it, do you think that people coming out of this will continue to consume more online, be able to or continue on with the education that way because people have figured it out, right? People have figured out not to walk in front of like a Zoom camera with their clothes, half off, those types of things. I mean, do you think that people are getting more accustomed to it? Obviously, we are on the road a bit. You and I, we do these things. We like to do those. We like to be on the road. But do you think that that's a thing of the past?
That's a very good question. I would like to...
I'm full of them.
On you, what do you see with the trends in the industry with people?
Yeah.
And again, just because I was scheduled to go to a few conferences recently, which were all pushed, canceled, whatever, do you think that people, once everything opens up, will people start to go to these conferences? Or will they say, you know what, we had great platforms, why don't we do this stuff virtually online?
I 100%, great question, by the way. No, so, the way that I...
Just like
no, the way that I see it is really, kind of the silver lining side of it, right? I think that the technology, I think what's available out there, being able to learn online, being able to have a virtual conference, I think obviously hands-on is always the best, right? Being in front, being able to do those things. But do I think that, having a booth and having these and being and going through kind of that type of it, I think that it's going to go away. Simply because it all comes down to money, right? That if you have a successful event that's online, you see, wow, you know what? It was bandwidth. And we had, 60% more people that actually asked us questions or things that showed up. And I think that has to do a lot to not to talk about kind of what we do on the forensic side of it, but think about businesses, right? So businesses who are Twitter, for example, right? Twitter said, you guys come back when you want to because I don't need to have, pay for these businesses and pay for all these others. People are having, and working from home. So, am I behind that all the way? No, because I think it's very difficult to maintain, a lot of the employees. But quite honestly, I think that some companies are going to see the benefit of having people remote because they can have smaller buildings. The bad part about that is I think that there's going to be a lot of buildings that are be open, and I don't know what are they going to do with them. Build a soccer stadium with some of these because hey, everyone can work from remote. So I mean, I kind of went back and forth, but to say that conferences will 100% go away, no. Will I see less of them, less of them on site, but more of them online? Yes, I do think so. What do you think?
No, I completely agree, but I guess only time will tell. So we have to wait and see. You were talking about corporates. I sit in the heart of the big corporate here, right outside. I don't know if you heard of them. They make Windows.
Yes, Microsoft. One of those things. Yes.
They
and now vaccines, I guess. Right.
They build the headquarters, and they're very active. Keep building. I think they knocked down like 18 buildings 2 blocks away. Still working really hard days and nights. So the question is, who's going to occupy these buildings if everybody's okay working from home? So everything's working. Why do? It's a very good question. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly as things start picking up, obviously. But if people continue to have success working remote, if they're successful, a lot of times people say, well, why break it? So again, that's kind of be a little bit of silver lining. So let's talk about during this time, what have you been doing fun? So completely this is the nonsense side of it, but what have you been doing for fun?
Been doing a lot of things fun. Depends on how you define fun.
No, it's your fun, not mine.
Well, I cleaned my office. It's a goal. It's an accomplishment that I made like 6 years since I moved here because I had to be here and work. So, I put curtains in the back, but then people ask me, hey, we want to see what you have there. It's like, okay, here's all my stuff. I don't know, license plate. So building license plate.
I saw that. I'm like, that's cool.
Well, I built license plate reader because I had issues in my street with some thieves coming in and out. And although I do have the CCTVs and all the high-tech equipment that I thought, and you can see the thieves, you can't really, the police couldn't tell who they were. Like, you can see their car, but the license plate is there.
So tell me about that. You just intrigued me. You're like Kim. You're like Kim with this big buzzer thing. So now I want you to tell me about your license plate reader.
Kim stuff is on the other hand, it's right behind there with all the antennas. I do have people that are afraid to walk by me when they see me with that equipment. Right. I think I may take it to the next level. I don't know where's the legal line there, but we're having fun. That's with the electronic stuff. I don't know. I keep building stuff in my free time.
I know, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with the license plate thing. So that's cool. So obviously, just recognizing it and being able to say those are the letters and numbers.
The goal was to make something that will be less than $200 worth with the camera and everything. So the goal is not to build something which is possible, $10,000, but so feasible. Other fun stuff. Well,
I love it. Exactly. You made the easy button. Everyone has been looking for that. I'm glad you found it.
Well, before we stopped traveling, my marketing girls that I loved bought me that, and I still use it every day. I wake up.
Right.
But I decided since we can't fly anywhere, why don't you get your own private pilot license? So I just passed like 2 weeks ago or so. 2.5 weeks ago I got my private license. So
fantastic.
So I can come visit you now.
Yeah, come visit me. You just need a plane, right? That's cheap.
I can rent one, yeah.
Exactly. And it's super cheap with gas prices. Right?
Yeah, so that is fun. I mean, it was a lot of excitement once I passed, but yes.
So because I'm almost done with my beer, remember, done with beer, end of talk. So what I need, you better, yeah, exactly. So one thing that I always like to ask, obviously the guys that have been in and doing, or, involved in type of the forensic stuff, we always have hey, this was unbelievable. It helped out so many people on something that you might have been involved in. So I mean, what is it that you're most proud of? It doesn't necessarily have to be, it could have been 20 years ago. It could have been 30. I mean, what is something that you're like super happy about, something that you're proud of as a human being, right?
It's a very wide question. I might fall into answering it wrong. There are so many things. However,
because you're a great human being. I've known you forever. It seems like forever. You know what? You're a good human being. So I know that there's a lot.
Probably the best thing that happened since the stay-home thing is that I'm staying home, which is something I haven't done much before. So being able to see the family, although I do believe that maybe my dog is the only one happy to see me every morning, everybody else. But
that's what I tell my wife too. I'm like, what? It's been fantastic, but she's pretty much to the point because when I was traveling so much and always gone, it was looking at, so when is it that you have to just because the house type of thing. But I actually am behind you 100% on that. I think that's been a huge thing and a huge positive for me because all my girls are away. They were away at school. They all came home early, and so it's been nice to have them. It's been nice to be kind of with family, especially during this time. So I would probably say that as well. It's again, another silver lining, and it kind of makes you reflect a little bit more on kind of what's important. So I would agree.
Since I'm hopefully been taking extra challenges and challenge myself in the kitchen more. So I hope that he likes it. I want to thank my friends. Heather got me a masterclass, license to their classes, and I've been taking many classes, and we're kind of in a competition, trying to who's cooking more, who's making more fresh stuff.
So was that because they've had your food before and it's like we have to get you something, or was it more or less, hey, you know what, just so that you do that?
No, we have groups of friends and the industry, and I guess we're always challenging ourselves. So Paul Lawrence from Canada is always cooking on every time that we see him. So we decided to ramp it up and try to challenge ourselves. There are other people doing it, and it's really great. By the way, we are trying to do maybe instead of forensics, trying to switch to some cooking and teaching how to make. I think people voted to see. I think I'm gonna end up doing it, teaching how to make hummus. But it's the thing that we try to do things from scratch and
Right.
try to make it best.
So if you ever, so my kind of cooking, I've been watching Get Cooking with Jim Gaffigan, if you ever want to watch it, because that's kind of, if you just look it up on YouTube, because that's pretty much how I cook. So, you know, it's the first one was how to cook toast. I mean, so it's kind of along those lines on that side of it. So
It's so but a lot of YouTube hours. I'm sure you can do anything. People ask me, how do I know how to do the plumbing, fix this or that? It's like hours of YouTube.
exactly, you can do anything. If you had to change an engine out of a car, YouTube. Done it. It's the best thing. It's a great invention. So anyway, I don't want to take too much of your time, especially on a Friday. I want the happy hour type of deal, though. I do appreciate you coming in and having a chat with those people who wanted it live. Sorry, a little technical difficulties. They have to get the recorded version, but it's just as good as live because I pretty much don't edit anything. So there you go. But anyway, I want to thank you. Yeah.
Thanks again.
And until next time, when I see you on the road.
Definitely. Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Hey, there it is. Another forensic happy hour in the books. Look for us next week as well. We'll have another special guest. Like I said, remember, if you want to be on here, it's just a good time. Right here. Okay. See you next week. Thanks.